The rage at Bran the Influencer is really interesting from a social class perspective because it's both showing us the ruling class versus owning class and the nuance of the classes in between. So I'm Dr. Anna Kolschman. I research the unwritten rules of work for the working class, and I talk a lot on here about upper middle class values versus working class values, etc. And I hear from a lot of people all the time, there's only owning versus ruling class, or owning versus working class. Sorry, I'm like, I understand, but there's intentionally the working class is broken up into different groups with different levels of power because otherwise they'd overthrow the ruling class very easily. That's intentional differences. And we're seeing this with the Bran dialogue. So if you don't know, Bran is an influencer who has built his platform on left-leaning ideologies, being transparent about how much money he makes with brand deals. I believe he's a millionaire, or he has made $1 million. I don't know if that's like net after he has paid his agent, etc., business expenses, etc. He's talked about and built a platform on not selling out, and then he just went to Coachella with Starbucks, which if you don't know, I did mention in my book, because I use a Starbucks example, that they have lost a lot of business over the last few years, both because of how they've treated their employees and because of their investment in Israel. And a lot of people are upset with Bran doing this because they perceive it as a betrayal of what he's built his audience on. And a lot of people are saying you could have paid to go to Coachella yourself. And he made an apology video, but in that video he talked about if you use Apple products or you take a Starbucks coffee, you're doing the same thing I did, taking a brand trip. And people are saying there's a difference between consumers, who a lot of people are saying don't have a choice. I think there's variation there. I am really tired of hearing people use the Marxist phrase, no ethical consumption under capitalism, while they do sheen hauls. Real sick of that shit. But a difference between somebody using an iPhone versus taking a brand deal from Apple and promoting their brand for them and taking however many hundreds of thousands of dollars for it, assumingly, which he has told us how much money he's made, so that's fair. And it's just interesting from a class perspective to see people clearly see that there's a difference between him as an assumed millionaire and them not millionaires. And yet, and in a way that shows there's more than two classes, right? Because it's the working class or maybe lower middle class or even the poor being upset at this maybe millionaire, because again, I don't know if that's after he's paid everybody, who is probably technically upper middle class, y'all. Like the billionaires, the elites are like so much wealthier. Like the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is damn near $1 billion. And yet the rage is also because in a way people understand that he's not the ruling class and they want the solidarity with him that they see the working class being everyone who's not the owning class should have. And that's why I will continue to talk about these differences in class beyond owning and working class. Because if it was that simple, the owning class would have been literally unalived a long time ago. It would not have gotten to this point. There are these differences. The owning class knows that. The people in power know that. That's why they scapegoat all these other groups. That's what all the immigrant rage bait is about. And it has been for hundreds of years. Finding someone to blame who is not the owning class. And listen, I understand why people are upset with him. I don't purchase from Amazon. I'm not on Meta. We all have our lines in the sand. All of this to say, these dynamics are in politics. They're in our work environment. We see these with the managers or the senior consultants or whoever who aren't the leaders of the organization and are like, well, there's nothing I can do. And the people below them are upset. And they're like, well, you can do more than I can. And yet they're in a tough spot. They're not the owners. They're not the shareholders. They're not the executives. But people want to see them do something because they are a little higher. And so we keep running into these dynamics really in every aspect of our life. And so it's really interesting to see this specific thing be so talked about. Anyway, y'all are also giving him and Starbucks, including this video I'm making, a lot of free publicity, which guarantee you was Starbucks' plan. Don't know about his, but guarantee you it was Starbucks' plan, because your rage is monetized. And that's why I say over and over on here, if you see someone that's problematic, just block them. Just block them. In this attention economy, people are just saying shit to say shit.